Don't slouch, boy. You're not lizards, you're not toads. You're Bamfyldians. Better, yes. Standards dropping everywhere.
Morning, Judy. In good voice today?
Morning, PJ.
You know, generally speaking, the members of our teaching staff are in their mature years.
Maturity is something I've always admired.
Come in. David.
Oh, excuse me, Headmaster. I'll come back later.
No. Come in. This is Mr. Powlett Jones, Mrs. Derbyshire. So you can see we're not all old fogies here.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Any news, David?
About the babies? No, not yet. Any day now, though.
Well, they'll come when they're ready, I dare say.
All I got for you at the moment is a list of entrants for the mile.
Oh, well, never mind. Leave that with me. Thank you, David. Now, be sure and let me know, won't you?
Oh, yes, of course I will. Look, I'm sorry about the interruption. Goodbye, Mrs. Darbyshire.
Goodbye.
You know, Mrs. Darbyshire, a couple of years ago, I was interviewing him for a temporary post here. Oh, he was very suspicious of us. Saw this school as a cross between prison and a stately home, I think. Oh, you thought the same thing, did you? Well, he's still here. Settled in, starting a family, and still a bit of a rebel, I'm glad to say. Now, tell me, why do you want to come here to teach my second formers?
Well, I need the money.
Oh, very good.
It's just the truth.
Yes, but you'd be amazed to hear the cant some of the chaps come out with when I ask them that question. Deeply felt vocation, dedicated to a higher cause. Oh, I don't know what. If only they'd say, Heddies, I'm on my beam ends and I want an honest job, we'd know where we were.
Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say.
Fine. Now, your husband is in hospital?
Yes. He was very badly gassed. He'll never leave.
That must have been very hard for you.
Yes, but...
Go on.
Well, we were together only a week before he went to France, so you see, I hardly knew him. I never really got used to the idea of being married. Sometimes I feel now as if it never really happened. And I have got to live. That must seem callous.
No. Very honest, Mrs. Derbyshire. And very plucky.
Thank you.
Now, can you tell me why I should prefer you to one of these young gentlemen who's waiting to see me?
Well, that's not fair.
Hmm?
Because you pity me, I suppose.
No, I'm far too ruthless for that. I think about my school, you know.
Well, perhaps you better choose one of them. I'm sure they know far more than I do.
Yes, but what about how to pass exams? All they can think of to do between school and Cambridge is a couple of terms teaching at another school. They don't know the world. Most of them don't want to know it. But you could tell them about the world, Mrs. Derbyshire, because you've been there.
I suppose I could. But is that really what you want?
Oh, of course it's what I want. And a bit of feminine influence wouldn't come amiss. The poor little chaps pine for their mothers in the first couple of terms, you know.
I'm not sure I'm the motherly type.
Perhaps not. Well, you just have to be an elder sister or a favorite aunt. Anything you fancy. I think they'd worship the ground you walk on. Well, now, as you know, I have got other people to see first, but... Well, now, let me put it this way. If I were to offer you the job, would you take it?
Well, I do need the money.
Listen to this, Carter. This could be about us. Western wind and open surge took us from our mothers, flung us on a naked shore. 12 bleak houses by the shore, 7 summers by the shore, mid Carter and the others. It's an apt picture of the seamy side of school life, don't you think?
Cheap doggerel, I'd say.
Oh, Carter, don't you recognize it? It's Kipling, your hero. With the odd tiny emendation by myself.
Think you'd have something better to do.
Such as gaze out of the window. The camel's hump is an ugly lump, which well you may see at the zoo. But uglier yet is the hump we get from having too little to do.
Well, I'm damned. That woman's got it.
What woman? What's she got?
That young girl. She's got the second form master's job. Second form mistress, I suppose we'll have to say now. Well, I'm damned.
Are you quite sure?
He's walking her up to the thinking post.
What's the man doing? Does he want us to turn into a dame school, a kindergarten?
It is only one young woman, Judy.
The thin end of the wedge. She'll want to come into the common room. She'll want us to make conversation.
Oh, no. That would be out. No, this is the master's common room. She couldn't come in here.
Oh. Still,
Brace up, Judy. It isn't the very first time. Remember Miss Parmenter? We survived that.
Miss Parmenter was not a young woman, Howard. In fact, I have my doubts whether Miss Parmenter was a woman at all.
Quick, Carter, look. Cordwainer's laughing.
Be quiet, or nobody will get his letters. Chandler, Titterton Minor, Gibson Major, stop that, Ewings. Hoxton, Cameron.
My father's Indian civil service, he knows. My father is the chief physician to the Maharaja of Baroda, and he knows things about India that your father never dreamt of. Who says? I, the Sava Major.
So many of them.
Well, there are rather a lot.
Don't you ever wonder, it's a silly thought, but don't you ever wonder what would happen if they all suddenly turned on you in a rebellion?
Oh, we'd be overwhelmed, not a doubt about it. Force and numbers, you see. And you're one of us now. You'd go down fighting with the rest.
I think I'd surrender straight away.
Very wise, so would I. Do you know, it never happens, your rebellion. They're funny little chaps, boys. They just long for someone to tell them what to do and make them do it. You'll see. They'd like us to teach them tricks like little dogs. The difficult thing is to get them to think for themselves. Now, these'll be some of yours. What a terrifying bunch of desperados, eh?
Oh, they don't look old enough to be away from their mothers.
Oh, most of them have been in boarding kennels since they were 8. They're like hunt puppies. There's young Graves, you see. Titterton Minor, the Cassava brothers, the Indian gents.
Do you know them all by name, Mr. Harris?
Oh, yes, of course I do. Headmasters must find something to do with their time, you know. Some play golf with the chairman of the governors. I prefer to talk to my boys. Cassava, you ruffian, come here a minute. You know, both of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
And good afternoon to you. Now, this is Mrs. Darbyshire, who is coming to teach the second form.
How do you do, Mrs. Darbyshire?
How do you do?
How do you do, Mrs. Darbyshire?
How do you do? I shall look forward to teaching you both.
Excuse me, Miss Darbyshire. I shall not be in your class. I have been put up. My brother, Cassava Minor, he will be in the second form.
I see.
I'm sure he will learn from your teaching.
Splendid, and so am I. You know, Cassava, if you stay here long enough, I think you might teach even me how to behave in polite society.
Are you making fun of me, sir?
Not for the world. Go on off you